Hey gang, Ross Brand here for Livestream Universe and livestreamuniverse.com. It's great to be back. It's been a few months since we've done the StreamLeader Report live panel, and we're going to talk about a subject that I find very interesting. Is social media still social, or is social media or online media really going the way of entertainment media? Are people joining social media to have conversations with one another and learn and discuss, or are they joining it basically to be entertained? As TikTok rises and some of the other short vertical video platforms all seem to be pushing that content really hard. I thought we should get into a conversation with some great creators and talk about how we can maybe adjust our content if we need to adjust our content, and what this means for going forward in 2023 for creators and entrepreneurs. And the concept really comes from a comment that Michael Kinney had made, who's going to be with us in just a minute, back in our first panel. And here's what he had to say about social and entertainment media.
Well, it's interesting. TikTok, the head of marketing at TikTok, came out recently in a conference saying that TikTok is not a social media platform. TikTok is an entertainment platform, which I found very interesting. And I think YouTube, you can kind of paint them with the same brush. I think they're angling in that direction. And more, YouTube is becoming a search engine, a search and discovery engine. And it's the place where people go when they're looking for answers.
And now let's bring him on and get his answers along with our first couple of panelists. We've got 6 panelists. We're going to go in 2 groups of 3. So coming up later on, we'll have Chris Stone, Ian Anderson Gray, and Joie Gharrity. But first, the man whose idea was that really triggered me was Michael Kinney. He's an award-winning professional television broadcaster, actor, YouTube creator, over 70,000 subs and growing on YouTube. Mr. Michael Kinney. We also have B. Smith, 4-time best-selling author, host of BeeInspired, the show, mental health advocate, and a good friend of the program. And of course, the one, the only Hall of Fame podcaster, Rob Greenlee, New Media Show, podcasting pioneer, and the brand new senior vice president at Podbean. Rob, before we get started, congratulations on the new gig, and real quick, just tell us what you're excited about getting started with Podbean.
Well, I'm excited to be with Podbean because they were one of the very original podcast hosting platforms that ever existed, and I've spent many years in the podcasting medium, as you know. So it's a very capable platform that can do a lot of stuff, live streaming as well. So it kind of takes me back to my earlier time when I spent 4 years working for Spreaker, which was also a live streaming platform too. So Libsyn didn't support live. So it's definitely my passion to get back more involved in a platform that can kind of do everything, right? From live to on demand and all that stuff, which is really my passion. I mean, I've been doing a live show for 12 years now.
Right.
So it's just an opportunity, I think, to help a smaller team that's been around a long time to grow, not unlike what I did working for Libsyn for about 4 years. So the team was small when I joined, and it is now a lot bigger.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, and I look forward to learning more about Podbean and the work you're going to be doing. Yep. Michael, when you talked back in May and you reported what TikTok had said their platform was not social, it was entertainment media, how did that inform, or did it inform, the content that you've been creating since May? What is your trajectory, over the last half year as far as how you've adjusted your content, or maybe you didn't adjust it at all?
I haven't really adjusted it that much. For me, it depends on the platform. Depends what platform you're posting to. So I have a YouTube channel, I have Instagram, I have TikTok, and I have Twitter. And each platform for me, it's sort of a slightly different audience and a slightly different audience expectation. So when I'm creating my content, it's very much tailored to the platform. Now, having said that, now with YouTube Shorts coming out and YouTube announcing that in 2023 they're going to be monetizing the shorts, which got everyone's attention, including mine. I'm going to be going, more into doing YouTube Shorts, and I've played with it a little bit, and it's kind of a challenge for me being an education channel. That whole mix between entertainment, engagement, education, and so I'm still playing with that. I've done a few shorts, and it's interesting some of the results that have come up, but I haven't changed drastically. If anything, I'm probably going to be producing more short form content.
Well, I haven't used TikTok or Shorts a lot. I've done a little bit more with Reels, and I've found that those seem to be getting more reactions and more views and such. Do you put the same content on multiple of these short form platforms, or do you change it up for the different platforms?
It's a bit of both. Again, it depends on the platform. I'll make a reel and I'll also put that on TikTok, because those two channels for me are sort of a looser mandate in terms of what I can put there, as opposed to, say, YouTube Shorts, and how YouTube kind of forces you to be very sort of focused on your content and your content strategy. So I won't necessarily put, what I put on Reels on my YouTube channel. So it's kind of threading the needle a lot of the times.
Is the purpose of your YouTube Shorts to drive people to your long form videos, your how-to videos, to tease maybe something that they'll learn in the video? Or is everybody really just watching shorts by thumbing up to the net? It's like playing the lottery. You just kind of, or what do you call it, where you put the coins in the
slot machine.
Slot machine,
the slot
exactly.
machine, right.
Yeah, it's just let me try one more. Let me try one more. I mean, you get hooked into it when you start watching these. I'm wondering, do they drive traffic, or do you entertain in the moment and then hopefully they'll come back and find you at some point when they want to learn, because they go, oh, that guy Michael had some good tips in the 16 shorts that I've watched so far?
Yeah, it's both. When I did my little test earlier a few months ago, I put out about, I guess, 12 or 15 shorts just to, play with the platform, see how it works. And looking at the analytics, it was interesting. I did gain subscribers. I definitely, on average, got more views per sort of video. And it varied on the type of short, but I did a mix of sort of educational, straight educational. I did some unboxings. I did some just advice, straight to camera shorts. And some of the standalone stuff got me new subscribers. And I also did, they have a feature with shorts where you can actually now clip a part of an existing video, and then there's a link that automatically goes to the full video, which is very cool. Because so your short acts like a promo or a teaser. And I did that a few times and really got a lot of engagement, and that did drive views for my longer form videos.
Wow, that's pretty good. Now, let's turn to Bee real quick, because she has done a little bit of research out in the field to see whether the people think that this is social media or if it's now entertainment media. And what does the younger generation tell you, Bee, as far as what they think of social and entertainment media?
So when I posed the question of it being either social media, I still got a small percentage of students and mentees that use it for social, but it's more entertainment to them. That's the way they're looking at it, the interaction, the talking, the videos. And I have been playing around between TikTok, Instagram with the reels. I was doing really good with the reels, getting a lot of interaction, a lot of engagement, a lot of genuine followers that actually are following my content. And then I started to notice some younger generation started to follow me on my Instagram and then on my TikTok. And I was like, okay. So then I started shortening it up, using different music and different things. It definitely is turning from social. So I think it's those lurkers that we used to have. Maybe they weren't lurkers. Maybe they were always using social media for entertainment. Maybe nothing's changed. Maybe we're just seeing more content for them to view.
Now,
That sounds weird.
Yeah. I mean, I'm wondering, like, you also, you produce some videos, but you also do a fair amount of kind of grabbing your phone and talking in the moment, sharing from your heart. And then you add a little music or you add a couple little things in the editing. Do you find one style plays better than the other? Like whether it's just totally raw and in the moment, or if it's producing something from a larger video, or really just recording something and then really editing it to get exactly, kind of what you want?
Ooh, hope you're ready for this. So the raw, like what's behind me, just in the moment, just the realness, that's the stuff that gets the most engagement.
Right.
And you would think when I polished it up and I think that's what hurts my feelings is when I polished it up and I've done all this editing. I'm like, oh my God, voila, this is perfect. 35 views. I'm like, what in the world? And then I'm walking down the street. I'm in the moment. I got that message burning on my heart. And it could be because of the kind of content. I am a mental health advocate. And so that could be where my audience wants to see me. Maybe they don't want to see that polished, beautiful segments of seconds and this and that. Maybe they want to see me in the moment. Maybe they want to see me saying what's from my heart. So it's always a blend with me. I haven't been able to just capture one particular thing. But I will say music plays a big part for this particular generation, this particular content. Your music is very important.
And do you feel that you've gone so heavily into video now to where, like, almost the written post or the static picture post is kind of secondary and the video post is first, or are you still doing a full combination of content?
I'm definitely doing less because, Be Inspired, there's always a quote. There's an inspirational quote. There's some statistics. There's something to get your day going. I still do those, but I'm finding myself to keep my audience engaged and my followers engaged. They want that video.
Yeah.
They want to see me. They want to see me. Even if, like, I did one where it was like pointing to a wall, but I was talking. And I was walking through my house. And that's actually one of my videos that has gotten the most views ever. So I'm giving my traditional message, but I'm nowhere on there. But you can tell that I'm walking through the house. And I still look at that video to this day and go, what?
Why?
It had to be the message, man. It had to be the message.
Yeah, I mean, feel like I've gotten to know your family and like where you're traveling and all sorts of stuff through watching those videos. The last thing I want to ask you real quick right now is Iconn.Live. Are you still active on Iconn.Live? And that seems to be, it's a community and a social community, but it's very much centered around entertainment rather than how-to videos and learning and some of the stuff that we often go to like a YouTube for.
Yeah, Iconn.Live is totally entertainment. So now you have just flipped it on me, Ross, because that particular medium is completely entertainment, whether you're inspirational, whether you're a musician, whether you're an actor, whether you're a podcaster, it is strictly entertainment. It's not social. Like the social part, you have the hearts and the stars and the different things that you can do on there, but it's all entertainment. And I'm still active, still beta testing, I've moved to Apple TV. We're going to start doing serious content, like all kinds of different content. So I'm looking forward to what's going to happen with Iconn.Live too.
Sounds good. Rob, you've been podcasting since the early days and you've been live streaming for many years. Of course, that means you've got repeats and replays and recorded videos on YouTube. You're on social across the board. I think you've seen the entire picture of where this online media space is going.
Yeah.
for the podcasters and live streamers that you're going to be working with Podbean, what do you recommend that they do as far as trying to build an audience through outreach on social or outreach on entertainment platforms? What do you see is the way people can use social and these free platforms to build an audience for their podcast?
Yeah, I think it's a really fascinating question, and something I've been doing a lot of thinking about too is the change in what we're seeing that's been evolving for a while now, and that's this concept of real people and real experiences and real entertainment, things that are genuine, authentic, and a reflection of who we are, not our polished who we are. And I think that's coming to podcasting too. And I do think that it's been a mantra in podcasting for a long time, is that you need to be entertaining in addition to providing value. But I do think that these newer, the reels and the short form video content that we have now is definitely more about exposing the funny moments and the humorous entertainment aspects of our lives. Some of them are kind of contrived, but they are playing into this general concept that life is not to be taken too seriously, and we're basically if we want to perform and do well on these platforms, we need to be almost like comedian actors of sorts that are acting in a way that's authentic to how humans act right in the real world, and find humor in that, and that's entertaining. And I think to some degree there's a lot of mapping into that to podcasting too. I think more and more there's a desire to bring personality to podcasts, and more talent is coming into podcasting that is driving that same kind of experience. And I think in a lot of ways what we're seeing here is social entertainment. Might be how I would kind of phrase it.
Do you see an audio version of TikTok, or an audio, if not the 1 minute, do you see a trend? I mean, clearly when you think of people like Rogan and these really famous podcasters who have these 3-hour discussions, that's not for everybody who's podcasting. Do you see a move to shorter form podcasts, a 5-minute podcast, a 1-minute podcast, or, are you seeing some sort of like, let's give them short form audio, or not as much in the audio space?
Yeah, I think that there's always been a section of the podcasting medium that's played in the short form content side, the 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minute range. But if you look at the overall stats of the medium, the longer form content tends to grow audience larger. So I think podcasting in its early definition, and I think this is another point that I want to make too, is that the definition of a podcast is expanding to include reels and including these other mediums, because you're starting to see podcasters do what they do in those short form videos, long form videos, things like that. So the perception of the consumer of this content has basically expanded their perception of what a podcast is. I mean, there's a lot of content creators out there that are doing a show on YouTube, let's say, that look like a podcast, sound like a podcast, but are not a podcast.
Right.
But yet they're perceived by the audience as being a podcast. So I think the definition of everything, and this is kind of the whole point of your segment here, is trying to redefine what's happening into something that's more accurate to what is actually happening. So using these terms, this is entertainment medium or media, I think is a reflection of the change in appetite for what kind of content is being consumed the most. And I think Bee had a terrific example of that, is that real experience that she had created in her video got more attention than the contrived one.
Right. The real
Right.
on Instagram.
Yeah.
Let's reverse it, and let me get a thought from everybody on where your biggest focus is in terms of type of content, platform, or collaborate, whatever it is that you're saying, this is my number one thing that I think I'm going to have success with in 2023, or the number one thing I need to be focused on if I haven't yet started working in that direction. So start with Rob.
Well, if I understand the question, it's where things are evolving to. Is that
where are you? Is there a place where your attention's going to be most based on where things are evolving? And it's fine if if you say I'm sticking, like, hey, I'm doing well with traditional podcasts through an RSS feed and audio. Hey, that's fine if that works. But just in this environment, are you making any changes for 2023? Is there a different focus, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I am. I definitely want to get more involved in the broader scope of content creation beyond just what the strict definition of a podcast is. And I've been moving that direction for a while, but I do think that one of the core tenets that we're coming into that all of us need to think about when we're creating content on any of these platforms is trust building and authenticity. I think people want honesty, want transparency, want realness. People want to connect to real people. And I think that's being fostered based on what we've all been through over the last 2 or 3 years of lockdowns and antisocial kind of environment, right? That we are looking for connection. And that's the game that I'm going to play going forward. And I've been doing it with a live show for 12 years now, is not having it scripted. Todd and I just show up on this show that I do, this new media show every Wednesday. And we just are who we are, right? We just like we're doing here, right? This wasn't anything that we had, outlined or created a piece of content. Now, granted, podcasting is still going to have that fictional and storytelling type of elements to it, but I think if you're really trying to build community, I think you have to build it on authenticity, realness, trust building, and personality, and that includes entertainment. You got to make people smile or cry or something. You got to give some emotion to people's lives, and they will follow you because they connect with you at that level.
Reason why they should come back the next day, right? The next time you go live or you record something. B, where's your focus in 2023?
My focus in 2023, and Rob, I'm just going to take it from you. It's the real. It's the real. It's in the moment. It's those messages from the heart. So 2023, I'm coming from the heart. I'm letting you in where I'm at, to my life, my family, my journey for what it is that I do, and giving my audience the real.
Right.
Well, I look forward to watching that in 2023. Michael, what's on the plate for you?
Same thing, authenticity. And for me, it's kind of challenging in the education space because you're balancing sort of the utility of the information. People want it clearly, they want it quickly, and trying to inject some personality and humanity into it. So that's what I'm going to be working on. And another point about that is, particularly in the education space, is the rise of AI-generated video. If you've seen some of these demos with education and informational videos, it's kind of alarming with AI-generated scripts, AI-generated characters now. And that's only going to become more prevalent. So that whole issue of authenticity, I think, is going to be required for us to inject our humanity in order for our content to actually stand out, I think, in the future.
Yeah, I think some of that AI stuff is the least authentic video I've ever seen.
But it's only getting better and better, and it's machine learning, so it's only going to improve. And then you're not going to really be able to tell,
So eventually companies won't have to hire people like us to deliver their message to their employees.
Unless they want it to be entertaining.
Right.
Eventually AI will learn how to have a sense of humor in the North American context, then the jokes will just come right in.
Exactly.
Different
I think
dialects, you name it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, when they invent, a comedian AI, then we're all in trouble.
Well, I just want to thank you guys and wish you the best holiday season and 2013. Love having you on, and we could continue this all day. It's awesome. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, B. Thank you, Michael. Love you guys. You guys are awesome.
Thank you,
Great
Ross.
to be here. Thanks, Ross.
Love you, Ross. Thank you, Ross.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to our second group. Our old favorite, Joie Gharrity, now has her own network. It's the Joie G 113 Media Network and the Superstar Women's Entrepreneur Media Network, I believe. Did I get that right, Joey?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Let's bring up our friend Ian Anderson Gray, the Confident Marketing Live. You see, I do this without notes, right? Like Confident Marketing Live Academy, Confident Marketing Live podcast, keynote speaker, and all around great guy, and the man with 25 plus years in the music industry as an executive at Sony Music Entertainment. He's an Amazon Live pioneer. He's the host of Dealcasters Live. Cast Ahead is his foundation or his agency or digital marketing company. So with that, Chris, Ian, Joey, welcome.
Thank you, Ross. This is the real non-AI version of myself here. So thank you for having us.
Well, I'm going to start with you, Chris, because you are so on top of everything in the live shopping space, which I think is going to just continue to grow and branch out in different directions. And so along the line with that, is live shopping social, or is it entertainment, or is it neither? How exactly would you describe live shopping, and do you see the content changing in terms of what's working? That was a mouthful. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. All good. Yeah. It's highly social. I think when it comes to live selling and what Jim and I like to call live solving, is, when someone is hitting play on today's video, we're not trying to figure out who they are. They're trying to be the best version of themselves. And so what we have is a solution to their problems. And so we look at it from that sort of situation. So we want to be approachable. And the panelists you had on earlier was a fantastic conversation. And they were talking about, the real, right? And being approachable. So if you are someone that is on a selling platform and you're talking about something, you're demonstrating something, the reason why they're going to engage with you is because they trust you. You're there on the platform, so they already know who you are, right? And so if you just are yourself and you're giving them some sort of solution, then that platform's open for them to chat with you. Hey, Ross, that SM7B really sounds good. Do I need a cloud lifter for it? Because I have this particular interface. All those questions when you don't want to read the page, you just want to engage with someone that maybe looks like you or looks like you can hang out with them. You're approachable. You can identify with that person. Amazon had this thing years ago where they had massive celebrities on the platform. Before Ross Brand showed us how to get live on Amazon, they had these massive celebrities on the platform, and it was a huge failure. Massive failure, because no one could identify with these huge celebrities. So they didn't want to buy from them. They're like, this, Jennifer Lopez is getting a huge check from Maybelline for putting on this makeup. Why would I trust that works for me? But if someone that looks a little bit more like you is using that product, you trust and you'll buy it from them.
Now, you're obviously very much into the Amazon selling. Are you seeing, or are you starting to branch out to other platforms, or even selling on non-selling platforms? Have you either taken the Dealcasters concept elsewhere, or are you doing something different on other platforms? What are you looking at as far as the selling landscape goes for 2023?
Yeah, we started on Amazon first, and then we created the social platforms for Dealcasters after the fact. So it was a sort of a weird little backwards thing for us. But the whole concept of Dealcasters was, again, Jim and I are remote producers. We do that for a living. This is what, and Amazon is one particular revenue stream for what we do. So we never lose sight of the people that we're speaking to, the problems they've got, and what we can do to solve those problems. And so that's how we treat our social media. Is we just want to reflect that mission on those social media, and remain approachable. And this is the other thing too, and it wasn't mentioned in the earlier panel, but I also have clients that do lots of social media, and we do content for them. And I think it's imperative that when you want your social media platform, we're going to call it, to be social, whether it's TikTok, which is now supposedly media, no longer social, but if you want to be approachable on TikTok and have it be social, you can do that. You just have to be social. And so I think I have a lot of these clients that they've got Twitter, they've got Instagram, they've got all the stuff, but they're trumpeting their stuff. It's all about trumpeting. They're not jumping in and engaging. They're not being approachable. And that's how it's not like you don't have to do all of them, right? You want the real estate of your brand everywhere, so you get the SEO and everything else. But if your audience is on Instagram, lean into Instagram, be social with the people on Instagram that are your followers and your listeners, and it will be social for you, or TikTok in this instance. So Kelly Noble Mirabella is a fantastic example of creating a TikTok channel for Amazon influencers or people that are getting into the program, and she's constantly on it answering questions, and it's becoming a really big deal because she is social, and for her, it is a social media platform.
Well, I've noticed that your short form, like your reels and that type of content that you do, is always really well produced, in that it stands out visually, it's striking, but you change it around from one to the next, so it's not formulaic. Talk about that as far as having success with short form goes.
It's because I have a terrible attention span and I'm a perfectionist, unfortunately. We're constantly testing things, and meanwhile, the algorithms changed 68 times since we started talking today.
Right.
So don't think you have the secret, because the secret changes all of the time. I have a number of clients that I work with at Cast Ahead, so I'm creating content for them. And so for me, for my Cast Ahead sort of TikTok and Instagram, where in the short form, what I'm using for YouTube Shorts is really just examples of what I can create for clients. So that's what I'm using it for. So that's why you're going to see like variations of podcasts that I'm working on. You'll see Dealcaster stuff as well, because it's sort of like a portfolio or showcase of the repertoire. And so that, and then it also gives me a way of being able to get analytics on that and be able to utilize that for clients. And then, it's just, I want to be able to stay on brand for the clients that I represent.
Right. Absolutely. Ian, you're confident on camera. You're confident at marketing live. You're confident in marketing on a podcast. You've probably tested just about every video platform, technology I can think of. You have some of the most comprehensive blog posts that I've come across that are out there. Where are you focusing in 2023 in terms of, is it social, or is it entertain people and then maybe send them to someplace else where they're going to engage with you?
Well, it is a combination. And it's interesting, the question, like, is TikTok, is YouTube an entertainment platform or a social? And I've always thought like YouTube is primarily a content focused platform, isn't it? With a social aspect to it. And I think it's the same with TikTok, and as Chris said, you can make it as social as you like. And so I think my focus for next year is definitely YouTube, but I'm going to be using that as a content platform primarily. Yes, I will be responding to the comments, and I do think that's really, really important, but it's a content platform. Whereas the likes of Facebook and Twitter, they are primarily social parts to it. So I'm going to be doing the same kind of thing next year as I've been doing this year, which is I start my live shows as my content hub, because I'm very much like Chris. I'm a recovering perfectionist, and so like those blog posts that you were talking about, Ross, I don't want to admit how long they took me to write. Weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's just such a painful experience. Yes, they've been amazing. I mean, one of the blog posts I wrote has had over 7.5 million page views, but the amount of pain that I went through to create that. So like, if I can start off with a live video, and so the way I do it is I go live, I then drop it into, so I use a tool called Descript. I transcribe that. It then turns into a podcast. I can then turn it into video shorts for like the TikTok and Instagram, and that's what I like, because it means that, yes, I can focus on what I'm good at. I can do the research. I can just turn up. I can be authentic. I can be real. I can create all this content. What I do want to do...
you do all that editing within Descript? So you, from Descript, you pump out the video that you're going to post on Reels or on Instagram posts or whatever?
Yes, I do. So like with the podcast, because I'm a recovering perfectionist, I put it into Audition and I do a few other bits and bobs, which I shouldn't do because it's just unnecessary. But let's move on. What I want to do next year, though, because I think we've talked about this a few times, and this is the recovering perfectionist part of me. It is that actually sometimes the overly polished stuff doesn't do as well as just the raw stuff. And I don't know whether you found this, Chris, but I've found that when I just turn up with my phone camera and just talk in front of the camera without any extra stuff, people really engage with that sometimes more. And I hate it because I want to have the nice kind of background and nice camera and all this kind of stuff. But I want to do a little bit more of that raw footage next year. But I think I need help to do that, to kind of unleash myself from my nice professional setup here. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on next year.
Yeah, when I started live streaming, it took me a long... Like, I started on Blab, which was more studio, and Periscope was more phone, and I did very few Periscope or phone live streams for a very long time. It just felt weird walking around with a phone in your hand or whatever, and not having, your studio set up.
It's hard, isn't it? And I think, I don't know about for you, Ross, but I'm going to assume you're probably similar to me with this. I don't like working on my phone. I prefer working on my computer. And Instagram, TikTok, they're mobile focused. I personally don't enjoy TikTok. I don't really enjoy Instagram. But it's not about me, because I know that some of my audience do really enjoy that. And so I have to get over myself, I think, and enjoy it. And I have enjoyed creating TikToks and Reels earlier this year. It has to be more than just entertainment for me. It has to actually, like, from a business point of view, what's this actually going to do? Am I going to get lots of likes and lots of comments? Great. But is it actually, and I hate to say this, but is it actually going to make a difference to my business? Because ultimately, I want to grow my business and I want to help people. And I can only do that if I grow my business, and lots of likes and lots of views is not enough.
Well, that's kind of what I found with Instagram Reels, is in that I haven't done a ton of them, but some of them have had really, really performed well in terms of views. But I have to ask myself, like, what is the point? If I don't have if they're not going anywhere from that, they're not following me even on Instagram. So I've entertained somebody for 60 seconds, or 30 seconds or whatever it is. But I don't know. Did I entertain them, or did they just watch it because it was the next thing up and I had the right hashtags? Like, I don't really know why some of those videos do well and some of them don't. I don't really have any idea at times. I guess what I wanted to ask you, because, as well from a business perspective, what do you feel drives the most business conversions, whether that's somebody joining your email list, whether it's, somebody signing up for a program, buying something, consulting, whatever it is that, the goal is? Do you find it's, the audio podcast? Do you find it's the live stream? Do you find it's the recorded video? Is it the social content? Is it the social video? Is it the blogging? What's your thing where you go, this is the one piece, if time was limited, this is the one piece I could not drop and keep my business going?
That's really hard to answer because I do lots of different things. You know, I do a lot of Amazon stuff. I do corporate stuff. I do coaching. I've got affiliate stuff going on, and so it kind of depends on the type of business that I'm looking at. But it is the boring traditional stuff. I hate to say it's email, it's the blog. However, and so those are the bits that actually make the conversions often. But along the way, the lives, the podcasts, the Instagrams, all of those kind of things, they help people along the journey. I think they hopefully show the real me, and that will either put people off or it will attract the right people, hopefully, to me. And then they'll find out more about me. They'll subscribe to my email. They'll follow my blog. They'll watch more of my videos. And so it's more difficult to work out the conversions from social and visual content in particular. But it definitely has an impact, because when I talk to my clients, I said, like, how did you find out about me? And they've been kind of stalking me for years, like listening to my podcast or watching my live video. And although that wasn't the final thing that they clicked on to sign up with me, that's been part of their journey.
So all the elements can matter, because at different stages of the journey, they're finding you in different places, and they may be moving along to another place, or it may be that's the thing that gets one person and something else gets another person. Joey, you've congratulations, first of all, on launching your media network. Tell us real quick about what you're doing with Superstar Women Entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I'm super passionate about helping, having women entrepreneurs share their talents, expertise, strategies, and tools, and empowering other women entrepreneurs to have more ease and grace, both personally and professionally in their life. So this has been a dream and vision. I'm pulled from my Hollywood background, and I also want to make sure that there's more women in the live stream world out there. So this is also my exclamation point to that as well, and have a voice and be seen and heard out there.
And is the content that's going to be on the network more along the lines of entertainment, or more along the lines of sort of what we think of as social media video content?
Yeah, so Ross, you know my point of view about the live stream. I personally believe that we're all going to become our own reality stars, and so it's absolutely entertainment, but it's wrapped in knowledge.
Right.
Wrapped in knowledge. And also, too, we're making sure that every single show has what I'm calling a $sign next to it, so that there's a selling component that's part of it, too. So, because this is a business, it's an entertainment, social, knowledge, empowering business.
Wow. You're hitting all the marks.
That's what I think, right?
Right.
I do feel that even Hollywood, we're very close to Hollywood perking up and paying some real attention to the live stream world, just like podcast. I mean, Hollywood did finally jump in there, and so I feel. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if one day Bravo is actually live. Reality shows literally are going to be live.
From a Hollywood mindset, in terms of, say, live streaming content that you've watched on social media that wasn't pushed out by a big production company or network or, Hollywood studio or whatever, what kinds of things do you say, this is what they may be interested in? Like when they start looking for talent amongst live stream shows and online content, what types of shows do you think will be the ones that they say, yeah, this is going to fit with what we want to do?
Well, that's why I built the network, because I think you really need a niche, right? Because people on the other side of the table, you can't make them figure it out. You can't make them overthink things, right? And so there will be these opportunities where a network or a platform out there is just like, we know that women entrepreneurs are big money. There's a lot of money in women entrepreneurs. They're buying resources, they're buying coaching, they're buying, and women are consumers. We love to consume. So there will be then someone on the other side of the table is like, this is an amazing fit for us, right? And you've already built out the content. It's very professional, right? I think you guys have an excellent point about the phone. I myself too am not a huge fan, even though at Podfest I was being encouraged left and right to use my phone. I like the computer better.
Right.
But I think that, and also too, I think for me, when I was sitting down and I was really strategizing all this, is having the knowledge component is what's gonna give it the leg up, right? Yes, you can sell all day, like, yes, buy this, buy that, right? But when you have the knowledge, when you have a tool, a resource, a tip that buys into what you're selling, right? You're building out a library component that's a guide, doubles as a guide, right? And whatever you are selling, now there's an organic relationship to that, right? And so that makes a lot of sense to me.
I think strategically, all three of you are kind of similar minds, but just you have sort of different product or different ways of putting it out there. But in terms conceptually, there's actually a lot in common about how you all look at this. Now, Joie, on Facebook, you still treat Facebook as old school social, and that's doing really well for you.
Yeah, I love it. But again, women communicate differently, right? We consume differently and we communicate differently. So there's going to be certain platforms where it's just going to be really leverage, a woman's leverage, right? Which to me is Facebook. We like to communicate and cheerlead. There's a lot of cheerleading going on. But to Ian's point and to Chris's point too, I absolutely agree that this is all about influence, right? And how you're going to influence and impact there is no one formula, but like rolling out I love blogging, rolling out the blogs and the books and then the lives and the podcast and all that, right? Being strategic about it is building influence, and influence builds earning power, right? Influence is going to give you the seat at the table. Right? It's going to, as long as you're being strategic out there. When I see people doing shows to do a show, that like blows my mind. I'm like, why would you do that? And there's no dollar sign next to it. I'm like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Right. Because they're having the call to action, right? Whether it's the product sell or this is a resource and this is how you can interact with me, right? That's just being of service. I think having that type of mindset, the networks know it really well, and I was trained by the networks, right? Mm-hmm. They do not do anything without the actual dollar sign behind it. They wouldn't even consider it, right? That's why it's $1 billion business.
Right. And I think, in addition to us having products or selling products or having businesses that benefit from us going live, it's also a showcase. Like I think Chris had said earlier, it's a showcase for the people that we want to work with when we do it. So that's another way to have, a dollar sign attached to it as well. I've seen more and more where networks are either filling time by grabbing video podcasts and making that their, midnight to 1 a.m. program, and they're not usually all that highly produced or sophisticated, or they're taking talent that they have that may be blogging or reporting or doing something else, and they're saying, hey, we can have YouTube content, or we can have podcast content. Let's give them that show if we don't have space on the network for them. And so we have additional content, not just what's on TV or what's on cable or OTT, wherever they're putting it, but hey, we've got a YouTube presence with all new content, not just clips from our show. So it seems like there's a lot of, any of you guys can jump in on this. It seems like there's going to be opportunity coming for people who can create good conversational content.
Well, that's contractual, right? So there are certain networks you can see that they're building that into the contract, particularly with the reality stars, that it's mandated that they have to blog, they have to. But you know what we're seeing, which is, I think, is the telltale sign of where we're heading, is you can go on any major network now and you will see live up in the corner. There's an ABC affiliate here in the Bay Area that I watched this morning, and I was like, are you kidding me? That has live up there. And then what we're seeing too is we're seeing Good Morning America, or some of the bigger shows out there, and they are shameless. They are just like, we are now going to have you buy from us, and we are just going to take you from table to table to table to table live, right? And give you a deal or promote these products. And so what they're doing is they're helping to train the marketplace for us live streamers, where it's going to be commonplace to be selling in real time. It's just going to be absolute commonplace. And so I like seeing that. I think that's a good sign for all of us. I do.
Well, I think at some point people may make the calculation like, okay, I'm going to pay for real estate for a store. I'm going to have to stock it with goods, and I'm going to get, 30 people walking in the afternoon, or I can go live, show off the product, and then when I get orders, I can then take care of shipping the product or creating it or whatever I need to do, rather than, and instead of relying on 30 people coming in between the hours of 1 and 4 or something, you have potentially millions of people can find you all over the world.
But they better hire Chris, Ian, or you, because
I'm not for hire, Joey. Sorry.
Oh, you're not for hire. Okay.
No, you guys are singing my song here. That
they don't know what they're doing yet.
The people have been live selling for years, just in the wrong place. The place that has the supply chain that can ship you and drop a box on your porch in less than 24 hours is the place that has been massively beneficial, and it was happening in Asia, and now it's happening here. I think the major issue then is we can kind of, because we're talking about social platforms, and TikTok is putting their toe in it, and YouTube even tried it last year at some point with bigger influencers, Twitter's, everyone's talking about buying something and people live selling on those platforms. And we talked about desktop. Ian and Joey talked about, using your desktop versus your mobile phone. What a lot of people don't realize is that most people buy on Amazon on their desktop. They think, and I don't, because that's a place for them to go and do research. They're probably maybe watching some YouTube videos, then they're heading over to Amazon, then they're looking at the product page, then they're looking at a live stream, then they're looking at shoppable video, and then they're like, I'm going to buy this. By the time they get to Amazon, they're already ready. They have an idea of a few things that they want to get. If you're watching a broadcast television show and they're talking about some widget, you've got 4 steps that this person's got to go through before they have to purchase it. And where do they trust that they're going to buy it? They're going to go to Amazon, because there's no supply chain on TikTok yet. There's no supply chain yet, right? But it's coming. And so this is I think, to Joey's point, everyone's being trained. to do this. And eventually, just like everyone got trained to use iTunes and streaming services in the music business, as opposed to shiny plastic discs that spun with a laser, or vinyl, if you want to drop a needle on it, people will be trained, and this will be a part of it. So if you're live selling right now on YouTube, what are you doing over there? This is you can't buy anything on YouTube. You can't. You got to give somebody a link to go somewhere, and you're creating a speed bump for them to actually make a purchase.
Yeah,
I think it's going to start coming to some of the other platforms. I think I think it's ultimately going to push Pinterest to be the last of the major platforms to adopt live streaming in 2023, because so much of their content is influencers posting products and services that they love and whatever. The next step is to get people watching those things live and engaging and all that. So I think it's coming. I'm sure Instagram, they've already got it built into posts and things. I'm sure they're going to probably add that to live at some point if they haven't already been playing with it. Let's go around the horn and start with Joie. Get just your focus, 2023, big picture. Where are you putting your attention?
I'm putting my attention into this network, and I just feel so strongly that it's about power in numbers, right? And bringing together these like-minded people, but sharing specifically with people that are looking for more knowledge, up-leveling their business. So that's going to be my focus in 2023. All the live shows.
Well, congratulations and all the best with the network. It's really exciting. Jim Fuse in the chat mentions that Pinterest is rolling out live streaming. So there we go.
Ross, do a video on it, and we'll be live on Dealcasters in no time.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Ian, what's on your plate for 2023?
Well, there's a lot. I think my focus is going to be YouTube and LinkedIn. But I will be scattering myself across all the other places as well. I think it's going to be about connections, relationships, community next year. That's the big one. That it was going to be this year, but for many reasons, that didn't really kind of end up being my focus. I've been focusing on growing the business, but I really want to focus on not necessarily growing my audience, but just nurturing my current audience. And if I get more people, that's great. But it's more about making them feel loved, and then they can do the work for me. Hopefully, that's the aim.
Yeah, I mean, the years of building an audience and engaging with people pays off in that way for you. Chris, I think you're going to be doing some Amazon Lives, but maybe there's something else you're looking at.
Yeah, that continues to be the big focus for me and for Jim, and really about the continued we continue to evangelize for the platform to get content creators. We don't make any money for getting creators on the platform. We don't work for Amazon, but I think the content needs to be better. I think there needs to be more creativity that's happening on that platform, and not just people trying to do home shopping network, QVC kind of thing, which is working for some folks, and that's fantastic. But you have an opportunity to create really engaging shows that help solve people's problems, and you can make money while you sleep. And so we're continuing to do that. And so we do constant detective work on Amazon, and really looking to help influencers, not only just get live and approved on that platform, but to just help them just thrive on that platform.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. It's been an awesome panel. I kept you guys a little longer. I hope that's okay. Chris Stone, Ian Anderson Gray, Joie Gharrity. I'm going to drop you down into the backstage. If you can hang out for a minute, do so. If you got to run, no worries. This has been a very interesting discussion. I also want to thank our earlier guest, Rob Greenlee, the new Senior Vice President at Podbean, four-time best-selling author, B. Smith, the host of BeeInspired, the show, and the great video production specialist, an award-winning TV producer, and, of course, outstanding YouTuber Michael Kinney. I want to say thanks to everybody who's been watching. I see Beauty Bubble's been active in the chat. Brad Friedman is here. Jim Fuse. Barb was here earlier. May still be here. Doug Lehman is here. Stephen Healy, nice to see you. It's great to have everybody stopping by, saying hello. And thank you. We'll be back next month with another edition of StreamLeader Report Live. Take care, everybody.